What's up? It's Juice Beats, back again with another race video. And this one is the Tigertown Crit 4-5 race in Central South Carolina, sponsored by Clemson and Top View Sports. This is a 40-minute race. Here we go. So we're getting ready to get started, and let me give you a little bit of stats for this race before I get into the breakdown. 26 mile an hour average, 340 watt average for the entire race with a 316 normalized power, 1537 max for the sprint. I also wanted to get out a few excuses before we get into the race breakdown here. I was in St. Lucia on vacation for 8 days and did very little working out. Stayed at an all-inclusive resort in which I had many drinks and lots of good food. So I really enjoyed myself, and coming back, or actually during the vacation, my Garmin watch keeps track of my sleep and my HRV status and workload and all that stuff. So I was reading as strained from about midweek during the vacation, and my HRV status was unbalanced the entire time, and my sleep patterns, sleep score was not very good throughout that, and also on when I came back home, it was kind of the same. So I was reading as strained, and basically until the day after this race, when everything finally looks like it started to kind of balance. So I did a lot of aerobic workouts the week before the race, just to see where my aerobic base was, just to make sure I was even able to race. But that's kind of how things went before this race. And the first couple laps of this race, you've already seen so far one lap go down. I was nervous, but I was also just like not feeling quite right at first. Like we had a really good fast start. We're going 30 miles an hour down the first stretch, and I just felt like I was falling behind early on, and I was just trying to catch back onto a wheel. And I think finally, after the first lap or two, I started to get into a little bit of a rhythm. But I felt like my heart rate kind of shot up pretty quickly in this race, and just wanted to kind of settle down a little bit in this race here. So going into it, didn't feel like I was at full strength just because I had that entire week off of the bike and didn't really get much of a workout in. So, the whole week prior to this, I did, I think, 150 or so miles that week just to get my base back and just to see how I felt. I did a really hard day that Tuesday before the race. Kind of had a breakaway practice with a group here in Knoxville, and I got popped a couple times in that, and just didn't feel completely up to strength. I held it together for most of it, but there was a couple points where I was just like, I can't hold on right now. So I had to back off a little bit. But here we go. We got 2 laps in already, and you can see I'm kind of dangling in the back right here. I'm just kind of barely holding on to the back wheel here. I'm not really out of it, but I'm just not holding onto the wheels as best as I can here. And really, I need to be kind of up there in the middle there. And you'll see I get a little bit better here in just a few minutes, but that's kind of what I was dealing with at the beginning of this race, just kind of dangling off of the back and not really feeling like I was in the race quite yet. So this little backstretch right here, this small road, was a little sketchy. There's some moss and stuff on the side of the road there, so I felt like it was a little slick, and it had rained all morning, so there was a couple little slick spots there. And then this turn right here was a little sketchy as well, because it goes uphill and then it keeps going uphill as you turn. So it was a little wild right there, and I think this part right there, that little back stretch, was probably one of the toughest spots in the race, because it comes downhill and then it goes right up into that uphill, and that was the only part of the race that really there was much of an uphill. There's a slight uphill towards the finish line as well, but it's not as sketchy an uphill as that one was on the backstretch here. Here on this kind of 180 degree turn, does get a little not sketchy, but it just gets bottled up a little bit when you're in a big group like that, because everybody wants to take the best line. So you do kind of have to slow down a little bit there and then kind of punch it towards the start finish line right here. So that's where a lot of the punchiness of the race, or a lot of my matches went, was around that 180 degree turn. So right after the start finish line, you go into this little downhill, getting up to 30 miles an hour or more sometimes during this race. And you keep going downhill, turn pretty wide. The road's a little bumpy around this area, but not too bad. And then this, the backstretch that I just talked about, this little sketchiness with the moss and stuff on the side of the road, and just how squeezed you are on this road. It's not like you have to go single file, but you end up getting, kind of bottlenecked here. And then here's that sketchy turn that I was talking about. So right here, take a little bit of a wild turn, and then, ooh, just missed the wreck right there. I was very lucky that I didn't, go to the ground at that point. But I think a few guys were in that wreck and got caught up. And then, of course, I had to slow down to be able to go in between there. And luckily, he kind of rolled out of the way, so I was able to get through clean. But, I had to put a little bit of a dig in just to get back with the rest of the peloton that kept going. So, yeah, a little sketchy moment there. But luckily, I got through it and was able to keep racing here. So fast forwarding just a little bit to a couple laps later, and not too much has gone on. I'm really just finally finding my groove and just sitting in and trying to get on a wheel here, but I'm really just coasting down this hill right here and trying to fit in. But they had the guys that were involved in the wreck, I think, have they got their free lap. They were able to get back in, and so I believe most everybody is back in the peloton with us here. So nothing too crazy at this point. Really, right now, I am just trying to find a good wheel to stick behind, and it's still very, very early in the race, so I don't want to move up too quickly at this point. I just want to make sure that I am still in it and that there's nothing going on at the front that I need to respond to. All right, so here we go. We're going into 6 laps to go. Not too much of the race is left here, and I am just still sitting in, just buying my time right now. I am thinking of ways to kind of move up throughout these 6 laps here, and I'm trying to figure out a good strategy on my own, obviously, to move up, but not too early. And so 6 laps to go right here, and I am just following my lines that I've been doing throughout the race, and just trying to figure out a way to move up. Oh, we got a little slide right there. Guess, like I said, it gets a little sketchy sometimes on this little back road, but was able to stay up throughout here. And here we go. This is the slight uphill. This slight uphill, to be able to keep speed with everybody, you kind of had to punch it out of that corner a little bit, and then you get this nice little downhill section on the way back down to the start-finish line. All in all, I mean, the course wasn't too bad at all. They said there's some bumps and some potholes and things, and really, I mean, if you picture your choice lines throughout the race, you were able to avoid them pretty well. This part right here, this little 180-degree turn was, I think, besides the sketchiness of the backside, like I said, I guess earlier, it was probably the toughest point, because that was the point where you had to kind of punch it out of there. And here we go, 5 laps to go. We've got a rider going off the front here. Well, I didn't realize there was a couple guys already up front, so he was just trying to catch up. And here again, I'm not really. I don't want to go too early. I don't want to burn my matches here. So I do move up to the front of the peloton, and then really I'm just following this rider. I think this is Kaysen right here in front of me, and I'm just following him. He's kind of taking me up to the riders that took off of the front there. So really, I didn't have to do a ton of work to get back up there. And so that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to save as much energy as possible. So I feel like the way things have been going this entire race, it's gonna come down to a sprint. I don't think anybody's really trying to break away at this point, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. And so just finding a good wheel to sit behind at this point, and just making sure that I take good lines, that I'm not wasting too much energy. I got a little bit of speed coming down that hill, and I noticed this guy was kind of moving up a little bit, trying to make another move. So I wanted to get on his wheel, and then he takes off. I really did not be just because of where we're at. So I think we're going into 4 laps to go right here. I did not want to take too much energy away, and I didn't believe that he would get away at this point in the race. It felt like everybody was pretty motivated to keep going, so I kind of let him go, and he's just kind of, he's taking off on us right now. But here we go. We got some guys that are motivated, and so I don't want to be out in the front. There's no reason for me, especially at my size, to be leading the charge out there in the front. So I waited, and it kind of pays off here. So I let these younger, skinnier guys get out in front of me, and that way I can just fall behind on their wheels here. It's all about calculated risks and strategies here. Here we go. He's still kind of dangling out there, and yeah, I think right now I'm pushing a little bit too hard to get back up there. I'm trying to remember in my mind what was going on, but I don't think it was quite panic. I was just like, he may be getting a little too far for comfort. And then here I am, I'm back on the front again of the peloton, chasing and leading the charge. So not where I want to be. I don't want to be out there on the front. And then, we've got these attacks going, and I really don't want to waste the energy to follow these attacks. But we're closing down on the last few laps, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm probably going to have to at some point. I don't want these guys to get too big a lead on everybody at this point. So we got 3 laps to go. Still pretty fast, and here I go. I'm still on the front again. We've got a few guys dangling off the front, and here we go. We got these attacks. All right, so I punch it because I know I need to get on their wheel, and I need to get up to their speed. So and I'm dangling a little bit here, but still kind of in the draft. Just didn't quite catch it right up to that turn, but I'm not quite that far. I think it looks a little bit further than it actually was, just because of how wide the GoPro is. But here we go, sitting on their wheel. I'm trying to, I guess, bait these guys into taking me up to the front, because I know everybody's motivated to catch that leader that went off the front there, and that's what I'm wanting to do. I don't want to have to lead the charge and burn all my matches before we get to the finish line here. And so, you know, sitting out there in the front for, you know, a little bit of a lap like that, it can really burn your matches, and I'm not quite built for that kind of racing. But it's almost closing time. We're getting down. Here we go. About going into this last 2 laps after this start-finish line right here. I think I'm still in good position. This is kind of where I want to be. Obviously, you know, I think there's a couple guys out there at front, and want these guys to push a little bit and catch up. So I just want to make sure that I'm not falling too far behind. And my momentum just takes me to the front here. And got a lot of momentum going down that hill and a lot of speed. Here I go on the front again. Not where I want to be. But here we go. So this guy, he gets a really, really good momentum swing right there around that corner and just takes it all the way up the hill here. And keeps going on the turn, and I'm not pushing out enough to be able to catch him, and I think that was the winning move right there. That right there was the move to go after. Like the other moves that have been going on throughout the race, you know, they ended up getting taken back, and you know, they didn't pan out, but that was the move right there. He took all his momentum around that corner, took it up that hill, and was able to catch up to the other guy that was out front. And spoiler, he ended up winning the race off that move right there. And yeah, looking back, so I talked to him after the race, and I even said I probably should have gone with you, but he had such great momentum going around that turn there that I don't even know. I mean, it would have taken a sprint to get back up to him. Just looking at it from, you know, the GoPro stance, like I definitely don't think I would have caught up to him even if I tried to sprint there. So that was an awesome move by him. And now I'm falling back a little too far. This is, I believe, the last lap. So, yeah, I've fallen back a little too far for where I want to be. I was out there up front a little bit too long, I think, for myself, eating some wind. I didn't even talk about that. So on this backstretch here is all headwind. I'm not sure about the gusts or the speed, but I just remember that there were some strong headwinds on this back stretch, and then to the finish line was actually tailwind. But yeah, I fell behind a bit here, and I'm trying to make up space or make up places here, and yeah, I'm fighting. Being on the front a little bit definitely hurt me, and you can see my heart rate's at 175. I think my max is like 180 something, 183 maybe. So I'm up there on the heart rate, and I need to go. See, I didn't realize that this turn right here, so the meters are a little bit off because of when I stopped my Garmin, but that turn is right about 200 meters. That's when you need to start your sprint, and I was thinking that it was a little bit further than that, so my timing was just a little bit off. But whew, finished out. I hit that 1537 watt sprint, finished out 11th, and really that whole 2 laps to go really was what hurt me. And you know, the guy that won, that was just an incredible move going around on that backstretch and just keeping that momentum going. So that was awesome. But yeah, you know, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you get notified when I post videos. I will be doing another race in about a week and a half or so. Getting ready to go back to Nashville where I won last year, so that's going to be awesome. So catch that in you know, a couple weeks or so when I get the video ready. But yeah, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.